Hi Leo, welcome to your June 2017 love reading. It's Raina here. So I want to give you full disclosure. Earlier today, I actually did about 6 minutes of your reading, and I realized as I was saying something that I said Cancer, and I was talking about something related to Cancer, and I'm like, oh my God, because I know that I started the reading talking about Leo. So I set that aside. I kept the spread and went to do something else. And now I was set to record, and I scooped the cards up without even remembering that they were already laid down for you. So I'm going to take that as a sign to just start all over again. But I do actually have that first 6 minutes of it, but I'm not even going to use that spread. I don't even know what positions any of the cards were. This is actually a longer spread than I normally do. This is a modified Celtic cross spread. I can't think of how many cards are there. Probably like at least 9 or 10. So before I get into that, I just wanted to let you know that if you're a single person, you might also be interested in a singles love reading that I'm going to be doing after I finish this batch of my universal love readings, because I did get some questions about that and I felt like, okay, I'll try it out. I typically do talk about relationships, and even when I'm trying to remember to include those people who are not involved, I tend to forget. And I think that it might be better to have a different focus for people that are looking for love, because there are different situations going on with those people. So just stay tuned for that from my channel. And okay, I'll just begin. I'm shuffling the cards. Okay. It's funny. I don't always get this card, but I've been getting this card over and over again as the focus of the reading. The Three of Cups can mean different things in a relationship involving another person. It could be that there's a third party when you have the number 3. And sometimes this card can indicate that you're involved with somebody who is having problems with alcohol. And because of the social theme or suggestion of this card, it's like somebody who goes carousing at the bar all the time and you can't keep tabs on them. Maybe they go home with somebody else. Maybe they're just... I got this card for another sign, and I noted, I said, you know, some people, they may be decent people, but they have a problem with alcohol or some other addictive substance, and it causes them to lose their mind, you know, to lose that sense of integrity and to do something that threatens your relationship. But it could involve a water sign individual in some way. Cancer, what's the other ones? Scorpio, Pisces. Typically with you, you tend to gravitate towards Scorpio, but for some I think there might even be a Cancer, because I did do Cancer's video and I think I got something with Leo. So that would be interesting if that's true. But, you know, I'm sure there's a few Leos out there who are involved with Pisces, and this is right up Pisces' alley. And actually for Pisces, this is a perfect thing Thank you, universe. Because Pisces is a sign that tends to be, very social and kind of love the one you're with type of personality. And they may not mean anything by what they're doing, but it's still very hurtful. I was going to say that it's kind of having a weak will, so to speak, but it's not exactly that. It's that's kind of like a judgment. But regardless, there may be some issue surrounding those particular themes, although it could also be that you are getting a lot of flack, feedback from your friends that is impacting your opinion on your partner. Like if you're married, your friends are kind of sabotaging you. Maybe they're single and you're the one that's married and they're jealous, that happens. What crosses you is the Ten of Pentacles, and this is a card of family money. I would just put it as family, traditional values, and things like that. And so, I know this is kind of crazy, but if it's possible that you're with a partner who wants you to get involved with a threesome, and it goes against your values. If you want to, if you want to validate that one, let me know. I don't know how many people will be public about that, but that's always a possibility. But there could be money involved, and it's funny. Let me just keep going, because I got a card that connects with marriage. This is a card that I think can connect with marriage through, having that family unit, because this card is about marriage itself. It's about the sign of Taurus, which is one of the pentacles, and being an earth sign. The other ones being Capricorn. For some people, there might be Capricorn, because I did get the Devil card. And that could definitely be a Capricorn who is challenging you. Maybe this is a person you're involved with, actually. But with this card, this could be about trying to conform to something that is hard for you to conform to. Or that, maybe it works both ways. Maybe you want an open relationship and your partner is very conservative. I guess that's possible too. This is also a card of religion. So you may have a partner who has a more strict religion than you do, or strict beliefs, and that is causing you to clash. It could have to do with your own life philosophy, that you just don't have that in common with a person. The other thing that I was going to say in regards to the Hierophant card is that as a Leo, you are, as a fire sign person, fire energies tend to be visionaries. They tend to be kind of not necessarily conservative. They may be ahead of their time sometimes. They're definitely, because you're independent and you don't necessarily get influenced too much by other people. You have your own mind, because you have, your ego is very much in the forefront. All the fire signs are creative, naturally, innately creative. And so creativity is merely self-expression. And fire signs are preoccupied with the self. That's why sometimes Leo gets accused of being a narcissist, but so I'm a Sagittarian, I'm a fire sign. Aries, and the fact that I had to say that shows my, ego. Like, hey, I'm a fire sign too. We tend to be, as fire signs, very much wanting the world to know who we are in some way. In Leo's way, it could be like performing or just creativity in general, but also in terms of how you act. And so if you find yourself in some kind of a marriage with somebody who you feel is keeping you down and being too stuffy, like if this is a Capricorn individual, you may have been attracted to them because they were successful, because they made a lot of money. And yet you realize, oh wow, I don't have anything to talk about with this person. Whenever we discuss things, we get into arguments because we have completely different ways of living. Maybe you have children together. Maybe you have a business together, and that is blocking you because you feel like you have to be there. Maybe you've gone into business together. In the past, in the recent past, we have the Five of Cups. So there's a sense of disappointment. Again, there could be some kind of problem with addiction, but there could be some kind of infidelity, and maybe you tried to make it work. Maybe you were willing to conform to somebody else. It's funny how Leo can be very independent, and yet in love, that could be your weak spot, where you try to capitulate even when it's not working out. I think you're going to kind of regain who you are, because this is the near future for you. And that is the Magician. This is about self-empowerment and kind of snapping back into, you know, that understanding of who you are. Leo is a natural leader. And so whether you're male or female, you may, I'm thinking specifically of women, you may have tried to tone it down a bit because sometimes Leos can be aggressive. You may have tried to fit into this ideal for someone that wasn't necessarily you, and eventually something had to give, and you have to assert yourself. And maybe it took, you know, having your heart broken, feeling the sense of loss. And, you know, it's possible. It's interesting because when I see the Ten of Pentacles and the Hierophant, I do think of either a Taurus or a Capricorn individual involved in this. But, you know, in some cases, if you have lost, if you're like a widow or a widower, then you may be trying to socialize now and meet somebody new. But it's hard. Maybe you're still in a mourning phase. And the thing about it is this is all about being resourceful and learning how to rely on yourself. Maybe you were very emotionally dependent on somebody, and that has to be examined. Leo is a fixed sign. When you love somebody, you love them forever. It is possible, even if you end up leaving them, you may love them forever. There's a sense of loyalty with Leo, and a really strong romantic streak. Very interesting. I do see a strong, it's funny. Now I was going to say the strong Taurus streak, and then I got the Capricorn. Taurus and Capricorn. Maybe somebody with the sun in Taurus and the moon in Capricorn. This is actually your card, though. This is your psychological nature, the Empress. So maybe you're ready for love again. Maybe you're wanting that intimacy. Maybe you don't have that. If you're in a relationship with somebody that's unsatisfactory, maybe you do not have that. with that person. And so you are looking for it. Even if you're not willing to be unfaithful, you may still be saying to yourself, this is what I want. I want that closeness, the sensuality, but also the romance. The feeling, if you're a woman, I want to feel like a woman. I want the person to treat me like somebody, not like one of their buddies. I want to be treated like a woman, and I want them to appreciate my femininity. And, you know, in some cases, if you have felt that you were carrying the weight in the relationship, you may have felt that you couldn't be taken care of. And maybe that's something that you're looking forward to in some way. And maybe it's just symbolic. It doesn't have to be that you're sitting at home eating bonbons all day. You might be really just wanting somebody to open a door for you, or to get you flowers at, you know, random times, and not just try to impress you materially, because this is a card, maybe that kind of was a snare and ensnared you, trapped you in a materialistic relationship. And you're really looking more for the romance and the true love. The influences that are kind of outside of you influencing the situation, this could be a card of addiction. That could go back to that. And maybe sexual addiction on somebody else's part. I didn't say that. I said alcoholism, but it could be that as well. Maybe somebody has a compulsion that they feel is really taking over their spirit. This is the sign. This is Saturn. This card connects to Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is Satan. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that the planet Saturn is Satan, is satanic, or anything like that. But that's, you know, the origin of that word, because the planet Saturn is all about tests. It's also karmic. And so the devil card represents oppression. And when you see, like, for instance, the Saturn return, you know, in astrology, these are times when, if you're not disciplined, if you're not organized and you're not on the right path, you might have some hard lessons. And any kind of temptations that destroy people's lives are kind of influences from a negative source, you know. Not that there's this, you know, not talking about Lucifer or anything like that, because those kind of things tend to blame outer forces for people's own choices, you know. People choose to do things, and they do it because they think it's going to make them happy. And that's where the will comes in. And actually, Saturn can help strengthen the will. You know, if you have your transing Saturn or your natal Saturn, depending on what kind of aspects it makes, it can actually help you. It's not something to fear. But in this context, it's the thing that creates compulsive behavior, feelings of being a slave to something. Now, this could also be saying that, again, with this card in the challenge position, that you have to conquer greed, materialism, a sense of your ego being stroked. Maybe you are with somebody, you're impressed by people who are successful and are wealthy, and that tends to lead you down these lonely, cold relationships where you don't have that emotional connection. By the way, this is a very light energy, and so it could also be, as the heart of the matter is that you're looking for that joy in life again, that ability to just be lighthearted. And, you know, with the cups, it's dealing with emotions, but it's very light. You know, the number 3, the third house is Gemini. So that sense of congeniality and just letting down your hair and not having everything be so heavy. Maybe you're in a relationship that's sucking the life out of you, and yet there's something compulsive that keeps you there, whether it be a sexual attraction, an attraction for the person's what they represent, if they have a high status job, if they're wealthy, and they've kind of kept you in this wonderful lifestyle that you may feel like it would be a loss if you left it, and yet you don't feel like you have this type of love or, you know, intimacy with that person. It may be kind of all for show. The advice, or what is going to be coming in the near future, is represented by the Queen of Cups. So with this card also being near future, and maybe as advice, it's talking about tapping into your more sensitive side and your psychic side, and really looking at it from, you know, viewing your situation from a spiritual perspective instead of a materialistic perspective, and asking yourself what it is that you really need to attract the person that you want. There could be someone related to Cups who is the person who is going to be of comfort. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but it's somebody who, maybe this is another person, maybe it's your mother. Queens can be mothers, but maybe I think I got this for another sign, and I said a psychic person that can help you. And I don't mean like it has to be like Miss Cleo or anything, but somebody who you feel is very wise, who can see your situation from a higher perspective. Because you may be dealing with people who are telling you, oh, stay with this person. Oh my God, they're so successful. Are you crazy? Why would you want to get away from that person? And you're like, yeah, but life is short. I want to know what it feels like to really be in love. And I've never really felt that way. And they could be, in a way, a bad influence on you if you listen to them, because they may not have that in their life, and they may not even know that it's important to have it. Sometimes it takes a long time for people to realize what's important in life. It's only when you're in this state of grief, when you realize that how empty your life is, that you can even value something other than that, you know. You can go on a long time being distracted by money and things like that. That's one of the benefits of money, is it can create a lot of pleasant distractions, but eventually you may feel this sense of emptiness, and yet you may be surrounded by people who are quite shallow, and they're all about socializing. They don't really dig deep in life, you know. And so the outcome is a card that is associated maybe with some conflict. So if you are going to leave a certain relationship, it may set things into motion that are a little bit upsetting the apple cart, so to speak. But it can be, this card can be about standing up for yourself and saying, this is unacceptable. If somebody is cheating, if somebody is addicted to something, you finally put your foot down and say, I deserve better than this, and I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. Maybe another person, maybe a person you've been with, has made promises, empty promises in the past. There are lots of people involved here. So you may feel like you're fighting more than one person. I would say if you're with somebody who is cheating, that you do not get sucked into this thing about what that card can also represent, which is trying to compete for that other person and calling up the other person and saying, you know, did you know that I'm married to them and blah, blah, blah. Because Leo has pride, and sometimes you can get into that mindset where you're like, I'm going to be the center of this person's life, and really hold on to the relationship when it's really unhealthy. So make sure that the outcome of that is more of you standing up for yourself than you trying to sink down into any kind of drama with other people. Do not allow yourself to go there, because that will keep you embroiled in a relationship that may involve addiction, may involve infidelity, and then you can't have what you want. You know, I really think that you're going to feel self-empowered though, and you're not going to feel like you're trapped anymore. And however that comes about for you, it's going to be good, because you deserve love, you know. So anyway, Leo, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have a great June. Bye.